Faceless Passenger on the MRT, Singapore. This story was told by a young office worker in Singapore. One Friday night, he stayed late at work and missed the usual rush hour crowd. By the time he reached the MRT station, it was almost midnight. The station was quiet. Only a handful of people waited on the platform. When the train arrived, he stepped inside and found an empty seat. The carriage was nearly deserted. A few passengers sat silently, staring at their phones. The train pulled away from the station and entered a dark tunnel. Everything seemed normal. At the next stop, a man entered the carriage. He wore a black long-sleeved shirt and dark pants. Without saying a word, he sat directly across from the office worker. For some reason, the man immediately made him uncomfortable. He couldn't explain why. The office worker looked down at his phone and tried to ignore him. A few minutes later, he looked up. The man was staring directly at him. Not blinking, not moving, just staring. Feeling uneasy, he glanced away. When he looked back again, he noticed something strange. The man's face seemed blurry, almost like it was hidden by a shadow. The office worker rubbed his eyes. Maybe he was just tired. But as the train continued through the tunnel, the face became even harder to see. His heart began to race. The other passengers seemed completely unaware. No one was looking at the strange man. No one seemed to notice anything unusual. Then the train lights flickered. For a split second, the carriage went dark. When the lights came back on, the office worker nearly screamed. The man no longer had a face. There were no eyes. No nose, no mouse. Just smooth, pale skin. The faceless passenger continued staring at him. Frozen in place, the office worker couldn't move. Then the train suddenly slowed and stopped between stations. The lights flickered again. This time, every passenger in the carriage disappeared. Everyone except the faceless man. The office worker was now completely alone with him. The faceless figure slowly stood up. One step, then another. Walking toward him, the office worker shut his eyes and began praying. A few seconds later, he heard the train doors open. When he opened his eyes, the carriage was full of people again. The faceless man was gone. Shaken, he rushed off the train at the next station. The next day, he told his grandmother what had happened. She became very quiet. Then she told him an old story. Years ago, a man had fallen onto the tracks after suffering a terrible accident. Witnesses said his face had been severely injured. Some believed his spirit still wandered the MRT system late at night, searching for someone who would look directly at him. Ever since that night, the office worker has never taken the MRT alone after midnight. And sometimes, when passing through nearly empty stations, he still wonders if the faceless passenger is sitting in the next carriage, waiting for someone to notice him.